always look for suggestions from particularly performers, because they get particularly serious performers, because they'll get into their character and they'll always suggest things that you don't think of, which sometimes are good ideas, sometimes aren't good ideas, but like they'll bring ideas to you based on the script that you haven't had, which is what you want, especially when you're doing what I did, which is write the script, direct it, and then edit it. It's like you need some input from external sources, otherwise, it's you get bored of yourself. So, and Brendan, the DOP, who makes a lot of suggestions as well. Well, in fact, he takes a lot of control of all the visual stuff. So, like, most of the time, I don't even really worry about it because I edit the film. Sometimes I worry about coverage, so I'm always like, maybe we can get another angle.
Dan and I think very similarly when it comes to looks and feels, which is good because we do not have much time to redo things that don't quite work out. That's why there's a lot of stuff in the movies that looks like we should have done it again, but we just don't get that opportunity. Me and Dan have a shorthand. Basically, he says something like, I want to set up like the first shot in Suspiria, for example, and I know exactly what he's talking about. I'll turn on a red light and do a long shot and put blue in the background, for example. And that's the pre-production.
Doing the action for SheBorg, I suppose a lot of our rehearsals, particularly Daisy and Whitney, probably rehearsed more consistently than anyone else, but most of our rehearsals weren't the scenes and the dialogue and that kind of stuff. It was trying to choreograph action, so working out fight scenes, which we spent quite a lot of time on. As I recall, when we shot, we almost never did anything that we rehearsed, but probably rehearsing put us in a good place to be able to ad-lib action shit on the fly, which is what we did. Dita Barry made for SheBorg the SheBorg costume. I don't know how he made it. It was designed by a guy called Dante Sapienza, who gave the design to Dita. Dita kind of then worked it into a way that he'd be able to do it. I don't know. He just made the costume. It's like I said, this is what I want, a bit like this. This would be cool. And he said, how about this? And then eventually we came out with a SheBorg costume.
So you'll notice the SheBorg has an amazing costume. If you really want to know the secret of it, it's made from foam and plastic, so I could move about in it, but Dietz did an amazing job to make it look like robot armour. It was so impressive. I was so excited to know that that's what I was going to be kitted out in, head mask and everything. Oh, so fun. Basically, I just went for a measurement with Dietz, and he took all the basics, head measure, everything, and then I went back for an initial fitting of the armour, and I also had a fitting with Rachel. She was our other costume designer, so she did the rest of my costume that went with or under the armour.
You wish to make friends with me?
Yes, friends! We can be friends!
We do not make friends with our food!
There was always like ongoing cuts and scratches and blood and that kind of stuff, and obviously there's just normal makeup that the actors had on. So we had a bit of a small team. We had Ali Napton was doing the prosthetics, and Zoe Karabatos was her assistant for special effects, makeup and prosthetics. And then we had Tess Russell, who was in really just to do hair and makeup. But Ali wasn't very available, so she was really only ever going to come in on days we had prosthetics going on. And so was studying at the time. She was quite available, but the only person who literally made it to every single shoot day was, aside from myself and aside from Brendan, was Tess. So Tess ended up becoming like a really important makeup artist, and she did a lot more of the special effects, and we kind of planned to actually work not just special effects and makeup, but worked with Anthony Hatfield, like, pushing blood through tubes and that kind of stuff to make things go squirt. And she just took on, because she was there every single day of the shoot, and aside from myself and Brendan, because in theory I was directing it and Brendan's shooting it, so we have no idea what's going on when you're standing there going, "Was there actors come out here so we can shoot?" So we've got no idea what organising is going on. Tess was the person who was there every day, and she took over a lot of that as well, just in terms of shouting at people with like a first AD, because we didn't actually have one.
I had just finished my diploma of specialist makeup, and my teacher asked for a student to help for 3 or 4 days of the shoot to come in and do a little bit of makeup and most likely the cleaning of the brushes and all that sort of stuff. And 2 days before we were due to shoot, she decided she was only going to do the special effects and prosthetics, and that I would then be doing all of the straight makeup for the film, so all of the glamour and the looks of the trails and basically everyone else except SheBorg. That was done by another makeup artist, and just developed from there and became one of the only 2 people to do every single day on SheBorg. So it was really, really good way to get my first job, so it was great.
Music's always a big part of a film, I suppose, and the Mercy Kills, who've literally donated tracks to every single film I've ever made, they all appear for the first time in one of my movies in SheBorg. So they wrote a song specifically for that, an 80s influenced political song.
We were kind of struggling to come up with lyrics because who the fuck writes a song about puppy farm massacres? And so Daniel Whitewood was like, "Oh, I'll help you out." Came up with these awesome lyrics, and then he said afterwards that, well, obviously that it was about my dog Queenie, who actually was rescued from a puppy farm. So it was all really sweet, and it's really cool. Dan Whitewood did an awesome job with that.
I mean,